waiting to see if some more people are gonna come on before I start. I'll wait a couple of minutes. Still waiting. All right. Happy Easter, everybody, or if you celebrate the Feast of Unleavened Bread, whichever one that you celebrate. Hope you had a good day. So I'm going to start talking about some things. So this is an update on an ongoing project that I started working on, which is upgrading these PVS-14s, the digital ones. Most people don't like these and they have several complaints. So the project that I undertook was upgrading them to try to make them moderately workable. And so that's what I'm doing now. Let's see here. Look, I got a comment. Hey, how you doing? M-Trek, planes and helicopters. Anyway, I'm doing good. How you doing? So I was working on the new lens, and when I measured it, I mismeasured because this particular one, for whatever reason, let's see, I got some comments here. Blah, blah, blah. How you doing? So how you doing, Laura? Anyway, when I measured, because this has an IR pass window, I couldn't measure directly where the sensor was. So when I used my depth gauge, which is on here, I'll show it to you. So if you don't know, you can use these to measure your depth. And when I did it, I neglected to go all the way to where the sensor was, because the sensor is actually somewhere right about in here, so I mismeasured. So when I got the new lens, it has the wrong focal length. So even though this is a good lens, it's still not able to focus with the sensor. I found some decent quality lenses from Edmunds at a decent price. So what I'm doing now is I'm experimenting with different lenses so that I can get single magnification, so these aren't zoomed in. So normally whenever you have these type of night vision that are the digital ones, the cheaper ones, they're zoomed in like at 3 times magnification. So what I'm doing is I'm changing the objective lens on it so that I can have 1 time magnification instead of having it zoomed in. So it'll be pretty useful. And I've just been experimenting with different lenses, and This is the lens that I have, which is a 30 millimeter diameter by 40 focal length. The new lens will be 30 millimeters by 75 focal length. That should give me a 1x magnification. Also, I'll show you what else I have on here. If you're looking for the rings on here where that you can use, I'll show you what I did. Where is it at here? So I replaced the locking ring that it came with, which is this one here. And I replaced it with an aftermarket one that I can actually use filters in it. And the size of the thread is 33.5 millimeters. So if you want to buy one where you can take out this, where is it at again? You want to replace this ring here and use one of these, that's what it needs to be, 33.5, and it'll fit. So once I get my new lens in, it should correct it from being zoomed in, and I should see a lot better performance. And once I get everything fine-tuned, I'll give you a parts list, and I will also make a kit. So if you want to just buy it from me, you can, or you want to source the parts yourself, you can do that as well. Let's see. Either way, it should work pretty good for you. So the reason why these units function poorly isn't because of the sensor. Whenever you see the YouTubers making the videos, they always say it's the sensor. That's not why. The problem is almost all of these cheaper end night vision that you buy that come from China, they don't use high quality optical glass. They use acrylic. And acrylic is horrible because what it does is it scatters a lot of light and it reflects it back out. I've said this probably every single video, but that is the reason for the poor performance. Like this particular lens here and the new one that I got coming, they are both optimized for visible light and invisible light, IR light, right? It needs to be on, I believe, around, I think near IR is, what is it? Between 850 and I think 1200 nanometers, just off the top of my head. That's what these need to be. That way, you will get more of the light that you want going into the sensor. Because here's the thing, you're never going to really get any decent performance with cheap lenses. So that means that you're going to overwork your sensor. Because 90% of your optics of your night vision should be performed by the lens. That's what you want to do most of the heavy lifting. Then the sensor just should be just like an afterthought. But because almost all of these night vision units use cheap lenses, you don't really get all the light that you could get going to the sensor. A lot of it is just wasted. And also too, it makes it hard to polish because a lot of times if say for instance if you had like real glass, you could take a polishing wheel and polish it. But if you use those nylon lenses, time that little buffing wheel hits it, it just like put chunks and marks into your lens. And I know the reason why they use that because it's cheaper. And some of the good IR lenses, they're not they're actually toxic. You can't really handle them because they're actually toxic, and then some are real fragile. So some of the better lenses, they're not really suitable for a lower end project like this. They're kind of more, I guess, higher end equipment like microscopes or stuff like that. I think they said also too they use them in those little DNA sequencers a lot. But once I get this new lens in, I should see performance similar to the NVG30, if not better. But just from the stuff I've done to it so far, it has pretty decent performance. Just the new illuminator, just putting that in alone made all the difference with it. And using it from Edmonds, they make bunch of different lenses and stuff. The one good thing about this project is that this is just a standard focal length. So normally you can buy different lenses depending on how far away the sensor is from the portion where the lens should be. And most of the time, whenever they make these devices, the way they design them to use off-the-shelf lenses, not custom lenses. The one problem with these PVS-14s is this whole lens assembly doesn't unscrew. I wish they would have made it where I could just unscrew the lens, but for whatever reason, you can't. Now, the PVS-18 that I have, I can remove that whole lens, but the way this one's designed, I can't remove the lens, so that sucks. But we just have to work around it. And here's the thing, like, while you using active illumination, you got to have fairly decent IR illuminator. But with the crappy lenses, if you don't have high quality lens, you won't get the benefit. Because the thing is, with better lenses, it will focus more of the light into the sensor. Sounds like my dog is trying to figure something out. I hear him. But anyway, that's the lens here. You can see that it does have an anti-reflection coating on it. And it's this one here, like I said, this is a 30 millimeter by 40 focal length. And let's see here. And then the way you measure your sensor is take your caliper. You won't have to do this because assuming that they're similar, once I do it, you shouldn't have to measure it again unless you got something different than one of these PVS-14s. But the way you measure it is the sensor is like somewhere like right in here, and then you just measure it between the portion where the threads start. So that's where the lens would be, right? Where you would have the lens would rest, and then on top would be where the threads would lock it in place. You just measure it like that. And then whatever number you get, you can put that into a computer program and it'll tell you what focal length you need. And so that is the reason why I'm using the type of lens that I am. The new one will take the place of the two lenses that are in here, because right now it has two lenses, and I'm gonna do away with both of those lenses and just use one, and that will give me my single magnification. And let's see here. I had to make another custom locking ring. Well, not a locking ring. This is a custom spacer that I had to make. And these rings, these spacers are kind of a pain to make. But the way I made mine is I actually cut it from this steel tubing. And I use a pipe cutter. I just took my time and just cut it. However, you can get these. AliExpress does have different varieties of rings you can purchase from AliExpress if you want to source the parts yourself. So that's what we're waiting on now. Hopefully I'll get my lenses in soon, and then I can see exactly how well it performs. And so if everything goes correctly, then I won't have to worry about trying to find a different lens to make it work. But the 30 by 75, it should work pretty good. I think that'll be the best way to get one-time magnification. I've tried everything else, and I really didn't like the quality of the video. I've already tried, like, these are all the other lenses that I've already tried, which is about let's see here. I've tried like 5 different types of lenses. I've already tried the fisheye lens. I've tried wide angle lens, which they do work, but the quality of the picture is still fuzzy. I've tried a 35 millimeter lens, which is this one here, And I've tried the 25mm lens, wide angle. All right. So if everything works correctly, you'd be able to just go ahead and buy this one. I believe these units were like 150 or whatever from Amazon. And you buy the lens upgrade and you should be in business. I'll probably get some footage of once I get everything done. I'll probably get some video showing what it looks like after I did the upgrades so you can see it. I'm doing good. I don't have my glasses, so I hope I pronounce your name right. I guess that's Chain Masochist. But anyway, how you doing? So, like I was saying, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to fix these night vision ones that you always see people talking about how bad a quality they are and how much they don't work, and save up your money and buy more expensive ones. So I just decided, you know what, I'll see what I can do. Can I fix it? And to give you a recap, if you hadn't seen my other videos, none of the reasons why in those videos that they tell you is what's wrong with these is the reason why these perform poorly. Most of those videos where those guys use them and they compare them to a analog PVS-14, all those guys doing for the most part is they buy stuff from Amazon, make a YouTube video, and then return it. They don't even keep it or use it or really have any enthusiasm with, or not enthusiasts with night vision. They just making videos. So what they'll do is they'll buy it from a YouTube, not YouTube. They'll buy it from an Amazon vendor, make their video, and then return it. So that's what most of them do. But like I said, the reason why most of these perform poorly is because of the lenses. So when you get better lens, you should see better performance. For the most part, all these devices are made in the same factory. The ones that are made in China, they're made by the same manufacturer in the same factory. If you look at the NVG30, I think it's about, if you look on AliExpress, it's about four different not manufacturers, about four different brands that use that same night vision, but it just has a different name, but it's made in the same factory and it's the same to the NVG30. But I think with the upgrades that I've done to it, you would be happy with it if you try to do the project yourself. And to do a little quick recap, I added a filter in the back, and that filter prevents it from being so bright. That bright light shining in your eyes, it's kind of uncomfortable. I upgraded the IR illuminator, which is right here, and you can also focus it. I added different locking rings, and it's going to be, as I said already, a new lens. And you also can adjust the focus with the iris. That way you can focus on objects that are close to you and further away from you without having to refocus the unit. But this stuff kind of gets expensive, so it's kind of difficult for a self-funded project. But I'm just doing research into it on what I can do to make it better, and then I'm just releasing my findings to the community so that way people can take less expensive night vision units and make them perform for what they need. Because everybody doesn't need a PVS-14. And some of the analog stuff, you have to be careful with it, because with using those tubes, you can burn them out if light hits them. So if you can have a cheaper alternative you can use that'll help out, that works, then that will be a bonus. Now, if you're looking at my video or live or rebroadcast, I would ask you to please give a like on my video. That helps me out in the algorithm, and that can help get my content to more people. And then that way more people can follow along with the project that I'm working on. With that being said, I hope y'all had a happy Easter, and I will see you later.